June Honors 2025. People of Africa, receive our greetings as always. 6 key points. That's what I take away from this surgical strike by His Excellency the President of Niger. Head of State, His Excellency General Abdourahamane Tiani. I'm telling you, he really is an expert in the field of communication as well. For the Zandos, the well, in any case, the imperialists and their lackeys, those who think that no, the military from the East, or rather the military in Africa, are people who are not intellectuals or anything like that. For them, they are the only intellectuals. The political mercenaries are gravely mistaken. There are eminent intellectuals within our defense and security forces. The knowledge of history, the mastery of large part of history by General Abdourahamane Tiani, there are very few political mercenaries who can do as much. Now we have made everything clear. For us, our issue is not a matter of military or civilian. It's a matter of being a patriot. Just as you find traitors among civilians, you can also find them within the army. Just as you find patriots within the army, you can also find them among civilians. So for us, the issue is a matter of patriotism, period. Whether one is a civilian, a soldier, I don't know, a religious person, or from any background, one must simply love their country, be ready, and be truly committed to defending the interests of the nation. That's what matters to us. General Abdourahamane Tiani, he could have remained head of the Presidential Guard and gained everything alongside people like the Bazooms and others. The generals told me, yes, but they are general officers. They could have gained everything. But what they focused on was the nation. And I really appreciated this statement from General Abdourahamane Tiani. That's what you call an intellectual. Everything is said, everything is detailed, with names to back it up. He doesn't take sides. He names people, he names countries, he names places, and on top of that, he gives dates. Well done. Congratulations to General Abdourahamane Tiani and especially to the intelligence services of the East and here in Niger for this tremendous work accomplished. Giving that up to now, I'm waiting for the propaganda media to try to say they're going to deny this or that. Go ahead, try. He'll come out with other arguments and you'll bite the dust. So far, it's radio silence. So will the Africans who blindly follow these imperialists not wake up? Will they not realize that it's time? Will they not say to themselves that it's time we also look after our own people? That now enough is enough. That you've taken enough already. Here is Africans who are falling. So it's important for those Africans who are still lost, those Africans who are still working for the interests of their colonial masters. For us, they are not our masters. Anything but that. We have said that we've sum it up in 6 points. 6 points. Otherwise, this is an interview that has already lasted 3 hours. This general, he's very dynamic as well. He's very dynamic, it's more than 6 hours. But the first point, what we take away, is that the interview is essentially, I would say 90%. I estimate 90% about security issues. Security issues and the interference of imperialist powers against Eastern countries. So I estimate it at 90%. It was largely focused on security issues. That's why, even with the other points, you really will find security issues coming up. At the end of the interview, I noticed, because I listened to it twice, the lackeys, the vassals of the imperialists came into the comments. Boo, 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 hey, Mr. President, get out of history and so on. The vassals, the lackeys, were simply taught that you should never love history. Oh, no. And they have denied their past. People who have no history, where do they think they're going? Can a tree stand without its roots? Without roots, what becomes of a tree? It becomes a fallen trunk, that's all. You have to be firmly rooted in your values to grow even more foliage, to have a prosperous future. President Tiani, we are passionate about history. It allows us to read, understand, and discover these people's software. Especially what you said about the hostage situation in Saudi Arabia, we really like that. They have the same mindset. The arsonist firefighters, they were the ones attacking in Libya. They were the ones who called themselves into the region to fight terrorism. Today, they are the ones supporting terrorism. They are the ones handling its publicity. Arsonist firefighters are a very good example. And while President Abdourahamane Tiani is talking about security, some clueless colonial types who have no understanding of what's happening, who have no idea what's at stake this month, are saying, now tell us about the projects. Who's going to talk to you about projects? You're asking me about projects? Do you have any projects for your country? What is your plan for African countries to free themselves from the yoke of imperialism? That is the real project for every African. What is your plan for Africa to achieve emancipation? What is your plan for Africa to be fully sovereign? What is your plan so that the average African is respected as a human being and has the same existential value as other peoples of the world? What is your plan? Nothing. A Thai, speaking good French, eating with a spoon, a fork, and a knife. That's their project. And with that they say, now we are civilized. But do you know a single person on earth who isn't civilized? Civilization is the way a people live and think at a given moment in history. Each people has its own way of living, its own way of seeing things. Not rejecting someone else's way does not make you a fool, does not make you a barbarian. Far from it. We know who the barbarians are on earth. Those who waged the most wars, those who started the world wars, those who used nuclear weapons, weapons of mass destruction, those who continue to fuel hotspots of tension all over the world, they are well known. Are they civilized? How long will some Africans keep running on certain programs? If you truly have a project for Africa, it is to liberate Africa, period. It is to restore dignity to the African man. It is to restore confidence to the African man. It is to demonstrate, plain and simple, that the African man has a history. He has taken part in history, he has written his own history, and the African man will write his history again. That is the real project for every African, and not coming in with phantom NGOs. Did you see those revelations about the Red Cross in Benin, in Niger, and even in Benin? These are the kinds of organizations they send us, but did you hear the revelations from General Abdourahamane Tiani? It's simply astonishing. Astonishing. And what I take as the second point, I've mentioned 6 points. The second point is that he says the term terrorism is outdated. We've talked about it many times, that the term terrorism is outdated. They are not terrorists. They are auxiliaries of neocolonialism, agents who are recruited, funded, maintained, and protected for neocolonialist objectives. That's all. We still say, but even calling them auxiliaries is still letting them off easy. They are mercenaries, quite simply. Pure and simple mercenaries. Many of their countries in their own laws do not allow mercenaries. Yet, they are maintaining mercenaries in Africa against African countries under the pretext of a recolonization of Africa, as the famous General Lecointre and the well-known British General Michael have said. As even Macron once said when he declared, we are going to Africa to defend our interests. It's not up to us to do it in place of the Africans. If they are incapable of defending their own interests, it's simple. Macron is the one who said that. So Africa is only seen in terms of interest. It's as if there are human beings living who live there. They need to be given peace so they can survive. Wait, this is serious. So the second point that you mentioned, which we also greatly appreciate, is the fact that you said they are not terrorists. They are auxiliaries, they are mercenaries, but their method of operation is terrorism. They spread terror and guerrilla warfare. Generally, that's what they do. So what should we do now? What are the plans to counter their disruptive capabilities? I believe the countries in the East need to think seriously about this. There are Africans who are brilliant minds, who are very talented all over the world. We need to know how to find them. This war is being fought on a mental level. It's on the psychological level, on the cognitive level, Ah, yes, it's a clash of intelligences. It's very important. He spoke about two cells that have been set up. And these two cells are think tanks that are currently carrying out activities to destabilize the countries in the East, to see how they might take back the Eastern countries in the future. But it's a lost cause. We have moved on, we are resisting, we will continue to resist, and our people will emerge victorious. We are going to win. It's just a matter of time. That's the second thing I take away from his speech, and especially from his interview. And it's something I really appreciated. They are auxiliaries, they are mercenaries, they are sent on missions, and they receive bonuses for it. The third thing I take away from President Abdourahamane Tiani's interview is the financing of terrorism. He provides dates and the names of locations. Everything is detailed. How they maintained, how they transported 400 men, first of all, then brought in another 350 men. And from April 21st to 24th, how the 400 men were moved. The funding, what was coordinated in Abuja, the DJAC, the International Organization of Francophonie, the Red Cross of Niger, delegations from Ouattara's and Patrice Talon's sites. You know, in this story, it will only end when everyone has tasted the source of terrorist attacks, when everyone understands that we must fight the terrorists, when everyone realizes that terrorists do not have a monopoly on their actions, that these are dangerous people who can be found anywhere, that they are vicious dogs that have been trained, and that in this life, everyone has trained a dog. It's very serious, but that's how I see it. Everyone needs to come together to fight terrorism. As long as we think that only a few countries should fight terrorism, we still have a long way to go. I know that you without a doubt understand what I'm saying. Tourism will only come to an end when everyone everywhere truly understands the need to fight together to ultimately overcome terrorism. So what I took away at this point is that they received a lot of funding, along with the promise of unlimited funds. As long as they can carry out operations, the funds are supposed to keep flowing in abundantly. And there, the master tourists rub their hands. So there is that guarantee. And I appreciated the denial, or when he clearly stated that these are not weapons loaned to our armies. We had already talked about that. It's not true. We also get a lot of weapons from them, so that's not the case. The first time they came to attack, what weapons did they come with? They said the weapons came from Libya. So who armed these people in Libya? He actually gave a good example. Those motorcycles, they are motorcycles. Who gives them those? Because you don't find those with our soldiers or with our Germans. We have our armored vehicles on the way, the motorcycles, who gives them those? So who is funding them? Who gives them fuel? Who communicates for them? All of this is well known. We shouldn't try to lull people to sleep, to treat people like children. We're past that point now. And the fourth thing I also noted, the fourth element I'm talking about these points. The fourth point, what I understood is that this war is now beyond the scope of the AS. There are attacks from Benin, even if it's suggested that there are agreements. Benin is abandoning a portion of its territory into the hands of these people, claiming it's for strategic depth, which, according to General Tiani, even France itself doesn't have, but this goes beyond the framework, because when it comes to funding, who did he mention? People from Uncle Sam, people from Macron's side, who were present to fund the operations of the terrorists. But as soon as these imperialist countries are involved in operations against Eastern countries, that goes beyond the framework. They're no longer just terrorists or mercenaries who were simply sent to fight in Eastern countries, but now they're mercenaries who are openly funded by certain countries. This is no secret to anyone. And the funding, even the drones that were purchased, the most striking example he gave was the Nigerian camp that was destroyed following a massive drone attack. But do the Nigerian military even know how their base was destroyed? That's why there needs to be communication. Those who speak English There needs to be communication. We need to increase communication. We need to find ways, frameworks for how to communicate with the populations of these countries so that they understand that the head of their country is a mafioso. Tinubu? No, but it's very serious, Tinubu. He doesn't care. For him, no matter how shady the business, he just wants to do his business, that's all. He must be fought. And there needs to be even more communication. So that's the fourth point I took away from the speech by His Excellency General Abdourahamane Tiani, President of the Republic of Niger. It's that this war goes beyond the scope of the AS countries. Other countries are now being targeted. Mercenaries are attacking from other countries that are not AS countries. They cross borders, so they are being supported elsewhere. Yes. The fifth point, the fifth element I take from President Tiani's speech concerns certain NGOs and specialized organizations, probably from the United Nations. And that's where he mentioned in his own words for the very first time the main reason why they closed the ICRC Red Cross offices in Niger. Niger's intelligence services say they then identified and detected a meeting and obtained the content of that meeting, revealing that operations to be funded to the tune of around 1 billion involving the ICRC in Niger were underway. So you can see to what extent certain organizations, and this is the case for many NGOs, don't forget that Niger has expelled many NGOs. And why? He did not go into detail about what these NGOs were actually doing. But here, everyone understands. We immediately get what this means. People of Africa, do we even need to be told all this? NGOs from other countries claim to come to your land to do this, to do that job, to carry out this work. But do you understand whose interests these NGOs really serve? It's not rocket science. It's not even hard to understand. We're not going to dwell on this for long. We know why. And those who have had the experience of working with these NGOs, some of these NGOs, the reports that are sent back generally, where do these reports end up? In whose hands? Question mark. People of Africa, the sixth element, the last point I take from this interview with the President, His Excellency Abdourahamane Tiani, is the case of China. And we are calling on our Chinese partners to come back to reconsider certain things, because he hinted that for them today it's about defending their interests, even if it means finding common ground with the troublemakers on the other side, so that they don't attack the projects likely held by Chinese nationals. So as for the rest, they don't get involved. No, that's not how it should be. I think General Tiani is asking our Chinese partners to be much more reliable and above all to agree to technology transfers. That's what I take away from it. So they are our partners. We're not going to put them on the same level as Emmanuel Macron and others. They are our partners. I hope we will find common ground, because those who fight against them are the same ones who fight against us. Those who refuse to give back Taiwan are the same ones who want to bring down the countries of the East. So we more or less have the same enemies. So let's stand together. People of Africa, we thank you, and we have tried to condense this as much as possible. Thank you, and see you tomorrow for another studio week of current events. Thank you.